I'm going to be late, Mr. President, Michelle told her cat, whom she had named after Bill Clinton, as she rushed to her car, fighting with her purse for possession of the car keys. There was no way she would make it to the station on time, she thought to herself as she started the engine. See, Michelle had just turned off of Palo Verde and was picking up speed on Del Monte when she saw him. A little boy, who couldn't have been older than 10, ran out in front of her car, chasing his skateboard. Michelle did the best she could to miss him. She swerved left and ran into a street lamp, hitting the boy with the tail end of her Thunderbird. She didn't have time to think about the boy, though. She had forgotten to put her seatbelt on and went flying through the windshield, landing far away, where 20 minutes later she was pronounced dead by paramedics. She had read stories about people who had been in major accidents and woke up in places hundreds of miles away with no recollection of how they had gotten there. But she knew that that wasn't the case now. Michelle knew that this place of breathtaking beauty was indeed what her Lord had promised in His Word: heaven. The road she was standing on was of pure gold, with the most magnificent of buildings lining it. Man's most beautiful building would have stood like an outhouse compared to these. What really held her spellbound, though, was that fragrance. It smelt so familiar, but she couldn't place where she had smelt it before. Looking ahead of her, Michelle saw what she believed to be the source of the aroma: a beautiful, lush garden with its trees stretching to the sky, vivid green, purple, and pink foliage, and other dazzling colors foreign to the human eye made up that paradise. Drawn to the garden, and with her nose as her guide, she made her way swiftly to this utopia. As she approached, she could make out the silhouette of a man standing in front of the garden, beckoning for her to follow as he disappeared through the garden's golden gate. I'm dead, Michelle thought to herself as she began to sprint towards the entrance. Ironically, however, she didn't feel dead at all. In fact, she felt more alive now than she ever had. And that man, she thought to herself, is either my Jesus or an angel of his leading me to him. With every step, the fragrance sharpened and her excitement mounted as she realized that she was now going to see her Lord face to face. Oh, how she longed to hear those sweet, sweet words: "Well done, my good and faithful servant." See, Michelle, now in the garden, made her way towards the center, and behind a white birch tree sat Jesus, in a modest white robe, sitting on what looked to be a wrought iron park bench. For what seemed to be hours, Michelle sat lost in his beautiful brown eyes, listening intently to his many words, not wanting it to be the case, but also not wanting to be taking up his valuable time. Michelle asked, "Lord, don't you have other things more important to do than to sit and talk with me?" As he cupped her cheek with a wounded hand, she could see and feel the scar from when the nail had pierced him, and he whispered, "Child, as I speak with you now, I am speaking to millions of my children across the globe, keeping people's blood flowing and their hearts beating, producing more oxygen for people to breathe, and keeping the world turning in its orbit that I set it in thousands of years ago. I have time for you. In fact, I am yours forevermore." Reassured, Michelle asked, "Why does this garden smell so familiar?" "Honey, every time you've prayed to me in private, in our secret place, I was here, listening intently and answering. And after every prayer, I would pass by your nose the fragrance of this garden. Michelle, you will never forget this time in our garden. It will motivate you to live a godly life for me and reassure you of my faithfulness. I love you." Michelle had just turned off of Palo Verde and onto Del Monte Street, and when she pulled over and got out of her car, not 30 seconds later, she saw a boy who couldn't have been older than 10 run out into the street, chasing his skateboard.